This is easily my best start I've ever had, and I'm in the Moskva for this game at least, and, well, this ship can farm battleships incredibly well, since it's so easy to hit things at long ranges, considering I'm also using the legendary upgrade, which gives me a little more range, and more importantly, better dispersion. And yeah, our first salvo gets a double fire instantly. So a little bit of RNG involved in this start, but it is amazing what these ships are capable of with some decent luck and picking the right targets. So a Preussen pushing in here is a pretty simple target to hit. And yeah, 5,000 damage, alpha damage salvos every 10 seconds or so, plus some fire damage. It's gonna stack up a lot. And there's more battleships incoming, so it's time to spread out the fires. The more battleships I can have on fire, the quicker I'm going to do damage. Now, we're about 1 minute into me dealing damage and 1 minute into this video, and before 2 minutes, we're gonna have a Witherer. So these battleships, of course, are letting these fires burn, which is certainly very useful to me. But if they do damage control, and then I get another double fire, for example, yeah, so I get a little bit lucky here for sure. I think the build that whatever this Preussen is running probably should have included fire prevention. And that's why I run fire prevention on basically every single battleship I have. Because games like this can happen. It is possible for a cruiser to get this lucky with fire chance. So we're up to 75,000 damage now, and it's time to start spreading out the fire damage. And what better target than another Preussen? These ships are incredibly easy to hit since they're so big. And there's the Witherer. Yep, less than 2 minutes of actually firing on ships, and I get a Witherer pretty much exclusively from a single Preussen. And yeah, definitely take fire prevention on your battleships, guys. It is very much worth it. And the other Preussen actually does have fire prevention. So it is time to spread out the fires again and start looking at this Ohio. And just like that, we're going to be up over 100,000 damage. This is easily one of the best starts I've ever had to a game if my goal is to farm damage. And of course, Moskva is relatively tanky at these ranges, especially well angled, so I'm really not worried about the incoming fire, especially from a Preussen, but even in Ohio, which is more accurate, I'm really not too afraid of that. And yeah, another fire. Unfortunately, this game does not go according to plan. I've played pretty well up to this point and certainly gotten more than a little bit lucky. But that's going to go to my head now, and I'm going to push in too greedily to keep these fires rolling. So this Preussen, about to get out of my range, the Ohio also about to get out of my range, and I'm going to make some serious misplays here where I don't look at the map. Notice how our team has pushed unopposed through the opposite side of the map, our Kurfürst and our Kremlin just rushing down the enemy essentially. That means that since nobody's died on the enemy team, they're all here on our flank. Well, now Vampire dies, but they're all here on our flank, and I'm pushing into this. So yeah, I think you can see where I get a little bit too greedy and didn't quite consider where the enemy team was. Even with not everyone on the enemy team being fully spotted, I should have known that I shouldn't be pushing here. I should be trying to reverse out of this situation, trying to get undetected so I can make a turn. But here I'm getting greedy for this damage, and I'm pushing in at full speed. So I'm gonna die here very quickly. And even though I'm on full health pretty much, and I haven't used my healing yet, because there's a Smolensk coming, and we all know Smolensks are great at burning down battleships, and Moskva not being able to take fire prevention anymore certainly takes a lot of fire damage as well. I did get a good opportunity to dev strike the Smolensk, swapped over to the AP, hoping for citadels, but it's a Smolensk, so it does get away with only overpens. And here's the problem. I realize it about now that I've made a massive mistake. I'm going to try and help take out this Shumakaze, but it's really not to be. And now, there's really not much for me to do other than die here. I am not going to reverse out of this situation. I'm permanently spotted by the enemy's destroyers that are well outside of my radar range at this point. All I can really hope for is the potential to get a lucky turn out in, or at least go dark, maybe tank this. But honestly, I am going to go for a turn out here. Turns out to be the wrong play, but I do think that sitting here in front of a Smolensk, just tanking his HE, Colombo as well, getting some sap salvos in, I do think that that would also be a way to die. So there's really no good situation here. I really ended this game for myself quite early. It was when I got too greedy and pushed in at full speed. So that's why I wanted to talk about it a little bit before it happened. And I'm still getting insane RNG. Another double fire on this Ryzen. Like, I'm getting so lucky here. And unfortunately, I did throw this game away. This could have easily been a 350k Moskva game if I had played a little bit better. But here, I decided to take the risk. The Shimikaze is going behind the island. I figure maybe I'll go dark and turn out. And that's when the Ohio appears. So I'm gonna die here. But still, 144,000 damage in this short a duration is pretty good, I gotta say. Even though Moskva can sometimes feel like the odd one out of these Russian cruisers, since Petro is better at close range, at almost being able to stealth radar, and at tanking, and Stalingrad, of course, having the insane 305mm guns that are so good at range and have improved pen angles, that kind of thing. Well, both of them do. Moskva can feel a little bit weak in comparison, but honestly, Moskva's consistency is so nice compared to the Petro and the Stalin, which do have worse dispersion. And of course, Moskva having the better DPM with HE, and of course, if you get lucky with fires, the damage really stacks up quite quickly. So I do think Moskva is still a pretty good cruiser. It's just not the niche overall OP kind of ship. It's just kind of more balanced and good at more things. I'd say the Petro is much, much stronger, and so is the Stalin, when you can make use of those incredible niches at close and far range, respectively. The captain I'm using here is kind of a catch-all commander. I'm trying to do reasonably good with Kuznetsov, so I can put him on almost any of my premium cruisers here. And because of that, I'm not taking some skills that might be nice, like top grade gunner, getting some better reload, that kind of thing. I'm just trying to do an overall decent build, and you'll notice I have some AA. And that is because Moskva is super vulnerable to armor-piercing dive bombers. And I would like to use defensive fire to at least deter that. It's never going to get rid of the squads completely, but I do try to run a bit of an AA build, and if there's a CV that has those AP dive bombers, I try to play around teammates to avoid that situation as much as possible, since the ship is very easy to citadel with those AP dive bombers. And this is the upgrades. I do really like the legendary mod, giving you more range and better dispersion, at the cost of some traverse speed, and of course, not being able to run main battery mod 3, so we lose out on a bit of reload as well. But really, Moskva is a pretty nice ship. Even in 2022 World of Warships, it's really nice to be able to have that long-range, consistent HE pressure, and having a reasonably tanky hull to go with it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.